Have you ever wondered how a project team proves that every approved requirement was actually built, tested, and delivered? That's exactly what a Requirements Traceability Matrix, or RTM, is designed to do. In this video, we'll learn what an RTM is, why project managers use it, what information it typically contains, and how it helps control scope, change management, testing, and validation. To make this concept easier to understand, we'll follow one simple requirement throughout the video and see how an RTM connects every stage from request to final acceptance. Let's start with a simple situation. Suppose a stakeholder says, "I requested a password reset feature a few months ago. Did we actually build it?" Then a tester asks, "How do I know which requirement this test case is verifying?" Later, the stakeholder submits a change request to modify how the password reset feature should work. Now, the project manager needs to answer another important question. If we change this requirement, what else will be affected? Without a way to connect requirements to the work being performed, answering these questions becomes difficult. This is exactly why the Requirements Traceability Matrix exists. It helps ensure that requirements do not become lost, forgotten, misunderstood, or delivered without verification. A Requirements Traceability Matrix is a table used to track requirements throughout the project. Instead of simply listing requirements, it links each requirement to the information needed to manage, verify, and ultimately deliver it. For every requirement, the RTM helps answer questions such as, where did this requirement come from? What business need does it support? Which deliverable satisfies it? How will it be tested? What is its current status? Has it been approved? In simple terms, an RTM follows every requirement from its origin all the way to final delivery and validation. Think of it like tracking a package. When you order something online, you can follow it from the warehouse to the delivery truck until it arrives at your door. An RTM works in a similar way. Instead of tracking a package, it tracks a requirement throughout its entire life cycle. Let's go through an example and see what this looks like. Keep in mind that the exact format may vary from one organization to another, but most RTMs contain similar information. Suppose one approved requirement says, the customer must be able to reset their password. Inside the RTM, that requirement might look something like this. Requirement ID, R-01. Every requirement should have a unique identifier so it can be referenced throughout the project. Requirement description. Customer can reset password. This briefly describes what the requirement is. Requirement source, customer support team. This tells us who requested or originated the requirement. Business objective, improve customer self-service and reduce password reset support calls. This explains why the requirement exists and the value it delivers. Priority, high. This helps the team prioritize the work. Related deliverable, password reset capability. This identifies the project deliverable that satisfies the requirement. Related work item, user story US24. If the team is using Agile, this might be the user story or backlog item that implements the requirement. Acceptance criteria. The customer can successfully reset their password after verifying their identity. This defines what must be true before the requirement can be accepted. Test case, TC-01. This links the requirement to the test that verifies it works correctly. Status, tested. This shows the current progress of the requirement. Owner, development team. This identifies who is responsible for implementing the work. Approval, product owner approved. This records whether the requirement has been formally accepted. Notice what happened. We started with a single requirement. Now we've connected it to its source, its business objective, the deliverable, the work item, the acceptance criteria, the test case, its status, its owner, and its approval. This is why an RTM is much more than a simple list of requirements. It provides end-to-end traceability, allowing the team to follow each requirement from the moment it is requested until it is fully delivered, tested, and accepted. Now that we've seen what an RTM contains, let's talk about what traceability actually means. Traceability simply means being able to follow a requirement throughout the project. There are two directions we can trace a requirement: The first is forward traceability. Starting with our password reset requirement, we can follow it through every stage of the project. It connects to the user story, which leads to the development work, then to the test case, the test result, and finally to customer acceptance. Forward traceability answers an important question. Did every approved requirement get built, tested, and delivered? It also helps prevent missing work. If an approved requirement has no related user story, development task, or test case, the team immediately knows something has been overlooked. At the same time, it helps prevent scope creep. Suppose someone says, "While we're building the password reset feature, let's also let users change their usernames." Before adding that work, the project manager can check the RTM. Is there an approved requirement for changing usernames? If not, the team should first evaluate whether a change request is needed before adding work that falls outside the approved scope. Now let's look in the opposite direction. Suppose a tester is reviewing test case TC-01. Instead of asking, "What requirement is this test case verifying?" the RTM immediately provides the answer. The test case traces back to the password reset requirement, the stakeholder who requested it, the business objective it supports. This is called backward traceability. Backward traceability answers another important question. Why are we building or testing this? If a development task or test case cannot be traced back to an approved requirement, the project manager should ask whether that work is actually necessary. In other words, traceability helps ensure that nothing important is missed and nothing unnecessary is added. Now suppose the stakeholder submits a change request. Instead of allowing users to reset their passwords using email verification, they now want to support multi-factor authentication. Before approving the change, the project manager needs to understand its impact. Will the user story need to change? Will the design be affected? Do the test cases need updating? Will additional development effort be required? Because everything is connected through the RTM, the team can quickly identify what else will be affected. This makes impact analysis much easier. Rather than searching through multiple project documents, the project manager can follow the requirement through its related work items. That's one reason the RTM is such a valuable tool during change control. It helps the team understand the full impact before making a decision. The RTM also plays an important role during testing. Remember, every approved requirement should eventually be verified. Our password reset requirement is linked to test case TC-01. When that test passes, the team has objective evidence that the requirement works as intended. If the test fails, the requirement is not yet complete. The RTM makes these relationships easy to see. It also helps ensure that every approved requirement has at least one corresponding test. Once testing is complete, the RTM supports validation by showing that each approved requirement has been successfully implemented and verified before final acceptance. The Requirements Traceability Matrix is often associated with predictive projects, where it is maintained as a formal project document. In Agile, teams often achieve the same traceability using modern Agile tools that connect user stories, development tasks, acceptance criteria, defects, and test results. While the format may be different, the goal is exactly the same. Maintain traceability from the original requirement through development, testing, and delivery. Whether you're working in a predictive or agile environment, the principle of traceability remains just as important. Let's finish with a few common misunderstandings about the RTM. One misunderstanding is thinking the RTM is simply a list of requirements. In reality, its purpose is to connect requirements to the work needed to satisfy them. Another is believing the RTM is only used during planning. The RTM evolves throughout the project as requirements are implemented, tested, changed, and accepted. Some people also confuse the RTM with a requirements document. The requirements document describes the requirements themselves. The RTM shows how those requirements are connected to the rest of the project. Let's quickly recap what we've covered. A requirements traceability matrix connects every requirement throughout the project lifecycle. It supports forward traceability and backward traceability, preventing both missing work and scope creep. The RTM also supports change impact analysis, testing, and validation, giving the project team confidence that the right product is being delivered. A simple way to remember the RTM is this. It connects the dots. It connects requirements to development, development to testing, and testing to customer acceptance. If you found this video helpful, please like this video and subscribe to PM Aspirant. And for more project management resources, visit pmaspirant.com. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.